Hey everyone, it's Vanessa. I just wanted to give you a quick content warning on this episode. There's some heavier topics, including self-harm, self-unaliving, and family drama, family abuse. We talk about difficulties that trans people have with unaccepting families and all the wonderful things that come with that. So just wanted to give you a heads up before you start the episode. Enjoy.
Welcome back to Transcending Humanity podcast. I am Lisa Magnuson. I go by she, her. I am an ally to this fabulous group of people, and I am co-hosting with Luna.
Hey everyone, I'm Luna. If you don't know, I am the parent of a trans son, and I just enjoy my time with my lovely friends.
Taryn, marketing leader, occasional guest or host or co-host, whatever, on Transcending Humanity. So if you like what you hear, smash the subscribe button.
I'm Liam Pascal. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a trans man, and I come here. I get in where I fit in. Sometimes I don't get to join as much as I like, but I love all these folks on this session. And let's see, I'm a senior consultant of management development in my day job, and I also do consulting as far as trans inclusion and allyship with companies and schools and such. So glad to be here, and yeah, hit that subscribe button. We need it.
Well, you know me, I'm Vanessa, and when they're talking about the subscribe button, they're talking about, as Taryn calls it, do that on the YouTube. You should do it on the
Oh
YouTube.
my God, is that ever going to die?
No, it's never going to die. I am the girl that does the stuff in the background here, and I'm currently unemployed, so someone send me a job offer because I do this for free. I want something that I don't do for free.
That's different from most people. Most people want everything free. So, I mean, come on now.
I know.
So we had a discussion in one of our previous podcasts, and we said, hey, let's table that for another episode. And it's about coming out trans as well as on the LGBTQ plus community, shunning from your family. I personally have a niece who came out gay, and it breaks my heart when I talk to my sister-in-law, her mom, about it. But I know everybody's experience is different. So we're just going to kind of throw things out, as in terms of nothing's really going to be solid questioning. We're just going to kind of be organic and kind of everybody tag off on things, because I know everybody has experienced some type of shunning within their family. So let's just, start talking about experiences. I have one as a sideline. I don't have one that's direct. So, but it makes me feel horrible as her aunt, as well as being a former teacher, when I had students come out to me and hearing how their parents shunned them or kicked them out of the house. We're talking 14, 15, 16. It breaks my heart, because as a parent of 3 children, that is my job, to love them, protect them, and always be their biggest cheerleader. And so it hurts me seeing friends, family, and students who that happens to. So whoever wants to go first, you go first.
So I'll start us off here, I guess. When I think about family, I think about, if you have a partner, obviously you have that part of your family, your partner, your kids, if you have kids, and you have your parents, your grandparents, and then the other side, parents and grandparents. And I didn't come out as trans until much later in life. I lived most of my life as a lesbian because I felt that was the safest thing to do. But when I came out to my parents, who really never were great parents to begin with. I mean, I was raised by my grandmother from the time I was 18 months old, because they didn't know how to be parents. They didn't want to learn how to be parents. And so didn't really have a relationship with either of them until much later on in life. And my dad and I had started to really develop a pretty good relationship, a little strange, but still not bad, But when I came out as trans, he just immediately dropped me like a hot stone. I mean, that was it. I mean, and You know, I haven't talked to him since then. I haven't talked to anybody on that side of my family since then, except for a couple of my cousins, and I've talked to one of my sisters. My brother doesn't talk to me. Um, and I have to tell you, not a funny story, but a story that will really piss you off about my brother. But and this has been years, you know, I haven't talked to any of them. Now, my wife has been my biggest cheerleader. I came out to her. I think her reaction was more, well, what took you so long, right? I love the person that you are and never missed a beat, right? Our kids the same way. They were very supportive. Our daughter and our son were just super supportive from the get-go. They all took me out and gave me a little celebratory dinner, you know, for my new birthday, that sort of thing. Um, and even my wife's parents have been just super supportive. Her mom slips up from time to time, or did for a while, with my pronouns and my name, but I started picking on her and saying, every time you call me by the wrong name, every time you use the wrong pronoun, I'm going to charge you, right? And you're going to start having to pay me for that. And she still, every now and then, she slips up from time to time, but she's older, right? And so I try to give her the benefit of the doubt. She's trying. Um, but yeah, it's a really sad thing to think that, you know, you've got people, and I can only speak for myself here, where people I've never met, right, on LinkedIn, for example, who have reached out to me and said, if you need a place to stay because you're needing to have this surgery, you can come to California and you can stay with us. You can use our vehicles. You can stay in our home. You can eat our food. We'll take care of you. They've never met me in their life. And yet I have my own family who refuses to acknowledge me because I'm not what they want me to be. And, you know, I'm sure all of you know, our son tragically passed away not too very long ago from an ATV accident. My family knew all about it. I never heard a word from them until a couple months into it. My brother decides to text message me out of the blue and say, hey, I'm sorry to hear about your son. And I'm like, who is this? And he says, oh, it's your brother. I'm trying to get in touch with and he used the term sister and my dead name. And I just could not fathom how any human being, and now mind you, he's supposed to be a Christian and so is my father, but I could not fathom how any human being would even begin to think that that was okay. Like you don't contact me and talk to me and tell me that you're sorry and really mean it. You send me a freaking text and you use my dead name and wrong pronouns to tell me that you're sorry that my son died. I mean, come on. It just boggles my mind how parents, I hate to even call them parents because they aren't. And you don't have kids and do that to them. And didn't mean to be too long-winded there, but I can't talk about it without bringing up the whole story about my brother.
Yeah, I remember when you did that post, and it was like, I mean, just I can't imagine. So as a parent, I can't imagine losing a kid, right?
Mhm.
Like that, it's got to be like I can't even describe it, right? And then to have your own kin, your own family,
Yeah.
do that in like a term of disrespect as
Mhm.
they're giving their texted condolences. I was like, I mean, you're right. I mean, it was, I had no words for it. I mean, it just was like, I felt for you because I'm like, I'm so sorry. You're going through something that no parent wants to ever even consider,
Mhm.
you know, and that this person couldn't even be bothered with the bare minimum of
Yeah.
respect. It's not like you're asking for like the world,
Right.
just like a scooch. I always get picked on because they say scooch instead of scooch, but it's a scooch of respect, right?
Right. And it was
Vanessa's
almost
going to use
like
that in a future episode. I'm
it's
sorry,
good.
go ahead, Liam.
It was almost like, you know, part of me was like, oh, is this just him doing what he thinks is the Christian thing to do? And so he can mark it off that he, you know, oh, I did that. That was the Christian thing for me to do. And I just it blows my mind how people can just be so judgmental and non-caring and every part of me just wants to pick up the phone and say, what exactly have I done to you that has affected your life in such a negative way that this is how you choose to treat me? And this is your choice. It's not my choice to be who I am. It's your choice to treat me this way.
Exactly.
And I said,
Yeah.
when you're talking about him being Christian, all I can think about is my argument that I know you have seen on LinkedIn every single time. Jesus's second greatest commandment, love your neighbor as yourself. You are his relative. And
Yeah.
he can't even do that.
Right.
And I'm not going to say I don't know the Christians that just think that the whole LGBTQ plus community is horrible. I do. And I
Mhm.
distance myself as much as possible. And I try very hard not to associate with them anymore. It's hard when it's family.
Mm.
But at the same time, that's one of my goals, is to make people stop and think about, okay, which part of Christianity are you following when you're doing this?
Right.
It's
Exactly.
nowhere in the Bible that I've read that you should hate A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but
Mhm.
love everybody else.
I
No,
think
it doesn't
they-
say that. It says love your neighbor as yourself.
I think they replaced the second commandment with the second amendment.
I think you might be right there.
Yeah.
B, you
Right.
didn't introduce your dog.
Oh, Gabby, come here. Come here. Come here.
Our other guest is this cute little furball.
Aw,
Mine are passed out on the
look
floor
at
right now.
that.
Hi, Gabby.
Beautiful. Look there.
Oh,
That's
That's
Gabby.
I love your
Sweetness.
fur baby.
Such sweetness.
I
She's
bet
the
you would not
sweetest.
judge if your fur baby came out. Okay.
No.
Loving the fur baby.
Well, she's already like tried humping me before, so
I
she's very dominant.
always say that my two male dogs are gay because one tries to hump the other from time to time. I'm like, hey, you be you, just do your
Nice.
That's right.
thing.
Just do you, boo. Just do you.
you, boo.
So it's interesting that you say that, because in the animal kingdom, there's like not really there's not a binary sexuality system like we have humans.
It's almost like it's all made up.
All made it up.
Oh, really?
And so there's like this tragic story of how a manatee died a few weeks ago in captivity. Or not captivity, but they were being studied in Florida. And they were two males, and one of them passed. And it's just like, this is a great example of how humanity has made up these rules that we are this. We're only allowed to be this. And the animal kingdom's like throwing up peace signs, like, we're not part of this, bananas.
Mhm.
And like you study apes, same thing, gender doesn't matter to them. Dolphins, same thing. Like, you look at it, we are the only mammals on the earth that make these, transient rules because they change with the era.
Mhm.
That penalizes people and ends up, long term can end up ending someone's life. When they don't get the proper support they need, when they don't get the love they need. And like with Liam, like, just, thank the gods that you were strong enough to make that through. But there's so many of our LGBTQ siblings that just couldn't make it through.
Right.
And so when you have something as horrible as a parent who doesn't support their child, it's like, every child that has made it to adulthood, like, we should celebrate, because
Mhm.
like, it's not easy.
No, it's not. And I really do think that, and I think this about everybody, not just parents. I think there's something inside of people. It's not that they don't understand. I think it's just that they are unhappy within themselves. And so they have to take that and just, pass it around to everybody. It's like with my dad. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that, he would look at me and say, well, this is against it's against the Bible, it's against my religion, it's against, but at the end of the day, it's more of what's somebody in my church going to say about me if they know this. And I really do think it's just a matter of people being miserable in their own lives. And so they have to take it out on other people.
Yeah, I mean, I also kind of feel like it's a lack of empathy, to be honest.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, in US culture, it's very like all about yourself. A
Very.
lot of self-centering, a lot of what you can do, what you can get, and all of that. And I think, like, for me, it's just, I look at people and I'm like, if you can, like, I don't have to be something
Mhm.
to understand someone's journey, right? To listen, to understand,
Right.
to nod along, excuse me, to nod along. and maybe even console them or share with them, right? Like I feel like there's this thing where it's like you've got to be part of something in order to understand it, and like that's not how it works. And I feel like people, like we should be teaching children how to develop empathy. I mean, because it
Exactly.
happens when we're really, really young. I mean, and I remember, like, I mean, I got my sense of empathy from my mom and my grandma, right? Like understanding how the journey someone else walks, right?
Right.
And just and being there and being part of that and not having to be them to understand that, right? And just listen. And I just feel like everybody's too busy shouting and yelling and sitting in their cells and getting their big buttload of possessions that they think they're going to take into the afterlife and all this other
Of
crap.
course.
And I feel like Christianity, like just about that, like no offense to the Christians on this call, if there are any, at least I know you're one. It's like, but when I hear them spew their anti like trans hate and
Mhm.
use like Jesus or the Old Testament or whatever they want to use, all I can think is puny God, and it means nothing to me. Like, sorry,
Beauty God.
you knew exactly where I was going.
Yes, I
That, like,
did.
like,
Wow.
Yes, I did.
thanks for the assist.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, with the Christianity, there's a lot less Christ in Christianity
Very
than I
much.
think that
Very
there are
much.
some people, right? Because I mean, when you look at it, like, I mean, nothing like Jesus was a brown socialist, right? So it's like, I mean, nothing that they believe right now is based in even their own myth,
No,
right? I
it's
mean, and
all
I think,
whitewashed.
It's all whitewashed, every bit of it.
oh yeah, I mean, if anybody sees Res Dogs, my favorite line out of that is "Thank you, white Jesus." Um,
It's
it's,
true.
but that's the thing. It's like they ignore the tenets of their faith, or the stories or whatever have been passed down. I was watching something on Instagram where they were talking about like there were some mistranslations of the Bible, like I don't know, a couple centuries ago, and people just picked up and ran with it,
Of
right?
course.
So it's not even accurate to what was written down like 1,000 or 2,000 years ago. So it's like that's why I call it a myth, because it's like they're just stories and fables.
That's it. And it's been rewritten and rewritten. And my
Exactly.
favorite thing and my dad and I used to argue about this is, okay, you read that passage and this is what it means to you. But when I read that passage, this is what it means to me. So does that mean you're right and I'm wrong? No, that's not what it means. That just means you interpret it one way and I interpret it another. It does not mean you're all knowing and that everything has to be your way.
Right.
But also bear in mind that a few hundred years after like the original papers that the Bible was based on was written, there was a conference and they looked at all of the documents and they edited them down to one source. So they burned the originals. Like we don't even have the originals anymore. They like destroyed the originals, altered where they wanted to, and fit it all together. So like when you think about that, just you read it, take a grain of salt. It's not even like Paul's writings. And then keep in mind, Paul never met Jesus because he was born when Jesus died. But like, if you get into the history of it and you start digging, you're just like, this thing that you're using to hurt other people. Let's start with the basis. Is this a factual document? Is this the original document? Is this actually his teachings? Because once you dig into that, you're just like,
Where does it all come from?
where's it all come from? And you're spewing all this hate when even if you go by the altered document, you're supposed to love. Like my parents were, I just discovered this, Mormon, and Seventh-day Adventist and Pentecostal and Baptist and Presbyterian. So, during my first 18 years of my life, I ran the gambit of religions. And so my story is a little bit different than Liam's, but not much different. For me, I'm the third oldest of 11, and the eldest child, my sister, she was 14 when she fell in love with a girl. And, my parents, deeply religious in their own way, said no. They said absolutely not. And after months and months of trying to break them up, they eventually kicked my 14-year-old sister out in the streets, in the Bronx, in New York. And I mean, my sister was kicked out for like a good 2 years before they even tried welcoming her back in. And so she was on her own for 2 years. And so me, a few years younger, I'm looking at that going, oh God, I cannot tell my parents at all,
Mhm.
not even a little bit. And the funny thing is, you know, my parents to this day actually don't know. I mean, they disowned me when I was like 18 or 19, somewhere in that age. So we've not talked. If they wouldn't know anything about my adult life. But even as a teenager, that was like my warning sign. It was like, do not tell your parents that you like women. Don't tell them, don't think about it, don't breathe about it. I had a really great friend. She was the first person I slept with. It was a she, not a him, and my parents would have been appalled. They would have died, actually, probably. You know, I had a girlfriend before I had a boyfriend, and all of this I kept under wraps my entire teenage life from two very disapproving parents. And it's just like I didn't want that for my child. And so when I raised my son, I was like, you love who you love, you can't help it. You live it, you support it. We don't care. Non-binary, straight, gay, we don't care as long as you're happy. Like that's what makes us happy. But, even to this day, like if I thought about going to my parents and going, oh, hey, by the way, I'm pansexual. I like people from what would not be considered the normal spectrum of gender. And, they'd probably disown me all over again. So it's just like, you see that, and you just think, I don't want that for my kid, but it's real. Like parents hate will overcome their love for their children if they have love for their children.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
I mean, for me, it's parents were conservative and Christian, so I kind of dove back into the closet in the late teens. Didn't come out till in my 30s, and transitioned at 50. Um, but I mean, for me, what I experienced, like with the fear, right? Because I didn't want to get kicked out. Like I didn't want to be on the streets. I mean, because we all know how that does not end well for a lot of people. So like with my own daughter, when she started dating girls in high school, I think she was like 15. I was like, baby, love is love. I said, bring home whoever you want. I said, as long as they respect you and love you, that's all that's important. I said, the only thing I will not tolerate in this house is a Republican. I'm
I
like,
was just gonna say
so
that.
I was like, just do what you got to do, right? And just have that love in your life, but no Republicans.
There you
That's
go.
it. And so I'll share a little bit of my story. So I did more of a pre-shunning. So nobody really shunned me per se. I just cut people out of my life. I mean, it's 50. I was like this broadsword. You're all done. Bye. I'm connected to a few cousins that I love on Instagram. Um, Came out to my daughter in 2018 before she joined the Navy, and came out to my mom. Took 5 times, but came out to my mom. And never came out to my dad. He died. He had a heart attack in 2020. But he was one of those abusive people in my life, right? Just like, I mean, I was never masculine enough for him. Never doing the right thing, and constantly hearing the F word. And when I talk about the F word, it's more like fag, right? Not the other one. For so many years, right? So when he died, it was actually kind of like, I'm going to be honest, and this sounds horrible, so judge me. I felt a little relieved. I was like, okay, I don't have to come out to you. All right,
I get it.
awesome. Bye. See you in
I get
hell.
it.
I don't think that's anything to judge. You were
Nope.
paying attention to your mental health.
Exactly.
So
So, I mean, I wasn't totally sad by that fact. I wasn't able to come out to my grandmother, who was pretty close to me, and like we had just an amazing relationship. So she died before I came out. But my aunt, so my mom and my aunt, both know. And like my aunt's question, I called her on her birthday. She's like, have you hit any topless beaches yet? Like that's her. And she's like 70, right? So I'm like, yeah, I do once in a while. But but yeah, so like I'm just my nieces came out to them like I think about a year and a half ago. And I think on my first pod with y'all, I shared the story about my brother. So my brother is like a Trumpist, right? Like arch conservative, 58 AR-15s kind of thing, never
We
too
must
much
be
guns.
related.
What's that?
We must be related.
Well, part of my family's from North Carolina, so yeah. But in Virgilina, North Carolina, up in the sticks. So he went. I never told him because him and I are like kind of like, I don't know, fire and napalm.
Mm.
And I just didn't want to deal with it. So I never told him. He figured it out, like stalking me on social media. I confronted my mom about it. My mom, of course, sides with me, so she didn't say anything. So he finally came to me and he's like, listen, I know you're transitioning. He's like, I just want you to know that I support you and I love you. And I was like, oh my, like, so we're building back a relationship. And it was like the last person I thought would ever be accepting to me was him. And he has shown nothing but kindness. I mean, he hardly ever texted me. Now he checks up on me, sees how I'm doing. I mean, it's just amazing, right?
That's amazing.
And I can't wait to be out at his daughter's next wedding. I mean, she's previously married to a not a great person, and now she's getting married again in March. And I'll be there as me. So
That's
looking
amazing.
forward to that. But if my family reaches out to me, that's fine. I don't care. My cousins found me and followed me, but it's like for some of them, they're hardcore Christians. And I mean, when I'm going to hell. That's what they'll tell you. I mean, I'm okay with that, but I just don't want to have to hear it all the time. I'm one of these people that's like this. I'd rather rule in hell than serve in heaven. So I'm good with that.
When people say that to me now, I so just want to say, you do realize that I'm kind of in hell now. I mean, have you looked at the state of our country lately? I mean, it can't be worse than this, can it?
Touche.
Yeah. No, that's the truth.
Remind
I was
me to
thinking
tell you guys the paperwork that just rolled out from the county from my son.
Oh,
'Cause
God.
there's some trans stuff, like it's a full 3-page paper about their pronouns and a whole bunch of real. Oh, good. Sorry, go on. We'll talk later.
No, I mean, that's for real. I was walking the dog this morning and I was thinking, you know what? I was like, I'd rather be in hell than in the American South.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be
yeah.
cool with that. I'm like, I'll take the 9th and 10th circle and I'll be fine. Yeah, I'd rather be there than Alabama.
Hey, if that's where if I'm going to hell, that's okay. I'll give out ice water because it can't be worse than this.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
Amen.
And,
I guess want me to share mine?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Please.
So I mean, I've known I was trans since I was like a little kid. And then I've said this before. It's like in my 20s, I didn't even know that trans people existed until my 20s, and then I saw a documentary, and I'm like, oh shit. But I was in an extremely abusive family. My father, if he hadn't unalived himself, and I came out before that, he would have unalived me. So, but thankfully, he decided to shake hands with a train and lost. So, Taryn, don't feel bad. I'm glad that my dad got hit by a train. So, if your if your kids celebrate your death, you fucked up. Just putting that out there. So,
I put that on a t-shirt actually, but yeah.
yeah, exactly. My mother, I disowned a long time ago. She's kind of sort of reached out. Like she sent me a holiday present, but like it didn't say who it was from. I just got this bracelet in the mail, and I'm like, it had my correct name. It had Vanessa Joy on the envelope, but like she had been physically, sexually, emotionally, everything abusive my entire life, and so when I got this package with this bracelet. It's a pretty bracelet, but no indication who it was from. And so I wound up calling the company, and they told me it was her. I said, I have to send this back. I can't take an abuser, stalkers stuff. So like my parents, my dad never found out. Josie's my mother. She's married to Bill Romer, who is an Ohio State House representative, very conservative. So yeah, I don't want anything to do with that. My brother and I actually reconnected after my dad died. We're still not like close, but at least we're cordial now, and he's starting to get more used to the idea. At first, it kind of blew his mind. because again, he was still very, he's less conservative than he was, but it's still new to him.
Mhm.
I've heard from one cousin, my cousin Brian, who's fucking amazing, him and his wife. They're super supportive. They're absolutely wonderful allies. The rest of the family I haven't heard much from, except for my dad's sister, which I actually pulled up my post. I posted about it like 9 months ago. She's like conspiracy theory, hardcore, mega
Oh
crazy.
God.
Um, and I actually want to read her text because I did a hashtag for a while called "Don't Be Judy" or "Don't Be a Judy." Her name's Judy, and I'm going to read to you our short little conversation here. She texted me out of the blue. This was after my orchiectomy. For those that don't know what an orchiectomy is, check out Lily Cantino's video on cake pops. But it's essentially I'm neutered. I've had the balls yeeted. So she sends me a text out of the blue. She says, "Jeremy," which is my dead name, comma Vanessa Joy. "This is heavy on my heart. You'll never feel whole with what you are pursuing. If you ever want to talk, I'm here for you, Aunt Judy." And so I just responded. I said, "I'm assuming that you're outing yourself as transphobic." And so she responds, she said, "Oh, please stop with that shit. Don't label me, and I won't label you. Let's be real and honest. You're my nephew, and I care for you. Just want just want you to know that if and when you hit the wall, I'm here. I know how your life has sucked. I too have been immersed in it. Above all, I am bound by the second most important commandment to love, no matter what, no matter who. Just let me know if you ever need someone to talk to." And I closed the conversation with saying, "There's no hate like Christian love. You truly are your father's daughter. Never contact me again." And that was a deep dig. My grandfather, her dad, my dad's dad, was easily one of the most evil people I've ever known. Maybe who's even ever existed. Horrible, horrible person. So I knew that just saying, comparing her to him would just eat away at her. But yeah, I didn't want to hear anything else from her on that. But that kind of conversation is very, I would say, typical for what trans people get. Like, just the blatant misgendering, completely discounting who I am, calling me her nephew, using my dead name. But she loves me. No, if you fucking love me, bitch, you would not say that shit, and you'd be like, "I'm here for you. I may not understand. It's fine if someone doesn't if someone doesn't understand what being transgender is. That's fine. Be open to learning about it. I mean, a lot of people have never met a trans person or have never been exposed to trans people. So it
That they
is
know
different.
of.
Yeah, that they know of. Yeah, exactly.
That they know of, yeah.
Everyone's met one. But, and I don't know, it's not hard to just try to open up your mind a little bit. As for the rest of people around me, um, my son's mother has been very supportive. We're no longer together. I don't think she's one. I'm very difficult to live with. I'm autistic. I'm grumpy, and she's not a lesbian. So I still live in the basement until I can get a job and afford my own place. But and her parents are both boomers, liberal boomers, but it's taken them. I mean, I've been out for almost 2 years now, and they're finally finally gendering me correctly. Um, Here goes my voice again. It happened last time. Okay, um, but they like one of the first things when I came out is they said, "Don't come out publicly until we have a chance to process it." I'm like, no, you don't tell someone that. If someone wants to come out, that when and where and how they do that is their decision. You don't get to dictate that. So, but I suppose that's my story. Overall, like, my son's mom has become more and more and more understanding, and now she's an advocate. She's part of a ERG at her work for trans people, and um, So that's nice. But as for family, the only real family I still have a connection with would be my cousin Ryan and Kelly. If you two are listening, I love you.
This is the thing that gets me, and there's various religions in the world. I mean, it's not just Christianity. We know that, okay?
Yeah.
But my mom and dad did things when they were adults that was their choice to do. Things that anyone would look at and go, that is horrible. Like you're a horrible person for doing this. First, not raising their own child was one of the things, right? My mom did drugs. She ended up in prison at one point. And again, these are all choices. But what I find is that Christian people love to pick and choose what they think is okay. So it's, as a Christian, I can do all these things and it's okay because I'm going to be forgiven.
Deeply held religious beliefs.
Exactly. But because you're trans and I don't agree with it, you're going to go to hell and there's nothing you can do to change it because you're the worst thing that I could possibly ever imagine. Right. And so that to me is another thing that just gets me about my parents is like, I can list just one right after another, all this stupid shit that you guys did. And you thought it was perfectly okay. And now you're older and you're wiser, supposedly, and that all those things are okay. They're forgiven. And I forgave a long time ago for some of the stupid shit that you did. But you can't accept me. And I've known since I was like 4 that I was different. I mean, I didn't know what it meant to be trans at the time because I was so little, but I'm the same person I have always been on the inside. The gift that is me is still me. I'm just in a little bit more improved packaging now, right? And that's it. I didn't change who I am as a person. I still love the same. I still give nice, warm, squishy hugs. I still care about people. I still give you the shirt off my back if you need it. Why am I going to hell if such a place exists? Why am I such a bad person for just being me?
Exactly. And now I'm going to tag off on what Vanessa said with her aunt saying, well, I'm living the way I should be as a Christian, loving everybody. Again, you hit it on the nose with interpretation.
Yeah, it's interpretation.
I see it totally different than her aunt, or, because that's how I am. I love. If we're friends, 9 times out of 10, I claim you as family, and I will be your biggest supporter. So, and I don't understand that concept as why Christians feel they can pick and choose. I've never understood that. Even growing up, and I grew up Lutheran. I went to a Catholic college, and I was Mormon for 20 years. And the hypocrisy is amazing. And then tagging off also on what Luna said with regards to all of these books that we have within the Bible. It was the thing at Nicaea that caused all of this. Not only does everybody have one book, but the Catholics have other books that are not in everybody else's Bible. And then you've got the Mormons who have these supposed Book of Mormon, Doctrine and Covenants, Pearl of Great Price that are supposedly all these things. Well, my whole thing now that I've, been divorced and really been separated from a organized religion, I just have my faith. I believe all faiths are intertwined in some way.
Yeah.
Because I love some of the things that Wicca does. I love some of the things that the Buddhists do. And I think it's all intertwined, and my faith is personal. I know Vanessa and I have talked about this. My objective when I pray is not, okay, this is what I need done for me. It's okay, what do you need me to show other people? Mm-hmm. What is your plan for me, and how should I respond to other people? And the biggest takeaway I've gotten from that is in my entire life, love people. Love people. That's all you need to do. And it's everybody, not that select, because I guarantee you, all the Bible studying I've done, I have never seen only love these people.
Mhm.
It's love everybody. So, I mean, it blows my mind that Christianity has gone so, as far as I'm concerned, far off the deep end.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it's been, I mean, let's face it. I mean, I'm a white person, but a lot of it is whitewashing. I mean, to be honest, I mean,
Definitely.
think about it. I mean, when you think about the Bible in general, if you think about the Bible that slaves were given by their white owners, most of the Bible was missing. They took it all out. They only gave them what they wanted them to read, right?
Exactly.
So it's kind of like, for me, I just feel like a lot of things are whitewashed to be what a particular white person needs to be, right? And I mean, maybe there's a little cishet washing in there too. I mean, who knows?
Hey, really quick though, B, can we get shirts with what Liam said, trans, but now with improved packaging?
I like that.
I mean, remind me, because we do need to get some THP merch. So we need to make a Discord channel with shit to put on merch.
There you go.
No, the improved
yeah.
packaging.
Because I won't remember that. I don't remember what I said 2 seconds ago, let alone.
Well,
So
good thing you're recording it though.
Right?
Yes.
true, but I don't actually listen to the podcast until it's actually live. I just
Okay,
when I
well, I'll
edit it,
listen
I
to
just
and
take out the
notes.
gaps. So
I'll listen to it and take notes and send it
Okay,
over. The
thank you.
concept
Oh,
of the
wow.
t-shirts, okay.
Wow.
That's a friend.
That's a true friend right
that
there.
is a true friend. Thank you.
So it's funny because it's like, Liam, as I hear you speak about it, right? It just like strikes me on it's colonization, right? So like when before LinkedIn like shut me down, like my thing was to colonize yourself, right? Because a lot of things stem from colonization, of like taking what was the like not even law of the land. It was like two-spirit like me
Mhm.
were part of culture, right? Or had leadership roles or helped the people or made decisions, large decisions that impacted people. And colonization with their Christianity, because they came over with the sword and the cross at the
Oh,
same
yeah.
time, right? And a lot of the problems that we see today are stemming from colonization, and even like when you look at slavery, it's like there is the colonizer aspect to that, right? Of taking people to farm this land that you stole from somebody else, and not even farm it, like work it like a prisoner, and it just feels like everything points like for me it's I know this comes from like maybe an indigenous perspective, but it's that colonizer that I just feel really strongly about, sword and the cross together, and we're
Mhm.
seeing it back right now. It's an AR-15 in the cross.
Oh, yeah.
So
Same
and
thing.
these people are not going to decolonize themselves, I mean,
Well,
at
and
all.
then you have people like Ron DeSantis, who's the epitome of a colonizer, who thinks that, Black people benefited from slavery because they learned valuable skills. I mean, part of it is like, dude, can we just like make you a slave for like a year and let's just see what you learn from that? Like,
I mean, I'm surprised DeSantis doesn't use, the term. I love this one for Ragnarok, but the prisoners with jobs, right? Like he doesn't replace slaves with prisoners with
right?
jobs. Like I could see him do
Give
something
it,
like
give
that.
it time. Give it time. He will.
He will.
I mean, this just goes to show how small his brain is.
Mhm.
Before the enslavement of these people, they had skills. They were working their land. They were learning how to
Their
survive
own
in
land.
the African desert, in
Mhm.
the African jungles. It's mind blowing. And this is one of the things, obviously his thing yesterday about not teaching Shakespeare. As an English teacher, I was livid, to say the least. But there's a reason in Germany they teach about the Holocaust.
Mhm.
And and I'm not talking me personally, but the collective idiots have this tendency to let's pick up the rug and shove all the bad shit that happened.
Well, unless
And
it's
we
bad
don't
shit
want
that
to
white people
deal-
did.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if we don't stop that cycle, which how many cycles have we gone through already?
Endless.
It's never going to end.
Too many.
It's never going to end. And it's a different set of people every time.
Every time.
And right now, unfortunately, the way it's going, it is the LGBTQ community and everybody else except the white that the whites are doing, you know, the idiotic things to and for. And it's like, you're trying to rewrite history the wrong way. You learn from history and rewrite the future so it doesn't repeat. And I'm like, who is telling you this shit? Because you're looking at this so backwards, it's not even funny.
I mean,
you know what, the saving grace is to me is this. Like, our daughter is a lesbian. She's in a relationship, very loving relationship. And, you know, we always told her the same thing. We don't care who you bring home. If they love you, I don't care if they're green. I mean, I don't care. As long as they treat you right and they love you, I don't care. But I think the saving grace that I try to stand on, and the reason why I continue to do what I do, is the kids that are coming up now that are my daughter's age, they are going to make these changes that need to be made. They're going to get rid of these old cisgender heterosexual ass men who are in positions of power, and they're going to turn this entire world around. They're going to turn it on its head. And I hope that I'm still here to see it when it happens.
Same.
I do too.
Taryn, earlier you were talking about colonization, and I've been researching my background. My dad's Puerto Rican, my mom's Crucian, and trying to kind of figure out where I sit kind of genetically speaking in my heritage. And it's French, it's Dutch, it's English, it's Spanish, it's Taino. I mean, that was the base family there, which is Native American. And it's just like, you know, looking at doing all this research, looking at how that happened, how the takeover happened, how, you know, trying to find anything pre-colonization about my heritage has been a nightmare. I can't find anything. There's like nothing there. I'd have to like literally go to the island and do a whole bunch of research because there's only small pockets of it. It's not even widely available. But to that, you know, sword and the cross, when, you know, they came over and they started colonizing, to kind of bring it back around, for me, it felt like my parents were doing the exact same thing. I mean, I don't know if that was the same for you, Liam, but when my parents were like, you're going to be straight and you're going to be very religious. And I, you know, growing up had that a verbal version, an emotional version of the sword and the cross, where my parents were colonizing my thoughts and like, this is how you have to be. And I'm just like, nope, sorry. That's not me. You know, they'd never accept my son. They've met him once when he was born. They've never met him since. Like, they have no idea who he is as a person. But knowing how they raised me at that sword and the cross kind of raising, it's like, I don't want that for my son. Like, I'd rather them shun me and me bear the difficulty of not having absolutely any family and knowing what it feels like to be completely and utterly alone than have my son bear that. Like, no, absolutely not.
I think I was fortunate to a degree because my grandmother raised me. She, even though she wasn't one of those people, surprisingly, that went to church. You know, she believed you have church wherever you are. You worship, you know, wherever you are, however you want. So I wasn't, you know, forced to be all involved in any particular religion. And, you know, I regret not ever being able to tell her about me as, you know, a trans person, but she developed Alzheimer's a long time ago, and I missed that chance. But I feel very strongly the kind of person that she was, and the ways that she loved and what she taught me to always be myself no matter what. I feel like she would have definitely accepted me. So even though my parents were asshats, you know, thankfully I had an angel to raise me. So
I mean, you were fortunate in that regard, for sure.
yeah.
I mean, I'm grateful that I rejected Christianity when I was 12. And then for the remainder of my adolescent years, I just pretended domino, domino, womino, who knocked over the dominoes, blah, blah, blah. You know, like that kind of stuff. So I did religious drag. You know, but I didn't mean any of it, you know, because I'm like, this is like, ew, you're hypocrites, you're liars, you're thieves. And then you come in here and hold hands and sing songs. I'm like, I'll pass. So I was a hardcore atheist at the age of 12 and 13.
Hey, I don't
I
blame you.
I moved over to agnostic, and then getting reconnected with my indigenous roots and meeting a tribal community in the Mid Atlantic and Delaware helped me understand the religion and the ceremonies, right? So like those ceremonies are why I'm here,
Yeah.
right? So like for me, going through Hamblecha, right, and sitting in the woods for 3 days when it was 25 degrees Fahrenheit with 2 blankets, a pipe, a drum, bare root, and some kinnick, and just smoking and praying, right? After 3 days of starving and freezing in the woods, the creator told me, right, was if you're going to live in this life, live as yourself, right? And then I also got my spirit animal, which is a red-tailed hawk, right? So a vision, kind of a far striker, somebody who protects the people.
Mhm.
So like out of that, like in a way, spirituality helps, but in the indigenous culture, we don't have faith, we don't have sin, right? We have rules and we have consequences.
Hmm.
So I like operating in that kind of state. But I gotta be honest, I'm just gonna do a little real talk right now. So we're talking about shunning family, right? And just, I'm grateful that I don't have a relationship with most of my family. Because I gotta be honest, like, and Vanessa, you know this from the last time we talked, right? With like, I'm just struggling right now with being so hated by so many. I couldn't imagine having it in my own DNA, right? Like today, I was just like, God, I mean, I'm probably going to do it. Like, I backed off of LinkedIn posting because of the algorithm and LinkedIn's just way too crappy. But I might do a post on mental health. Like, I'm just like, I'm grateful that I don't have a lot of these religious kooks still in my life.
Hmm.
Because I mean, with what I experienced in Aruba as a monster, right? And just being hated by so many, it's starting to really wear on me, like a lot. And suicidal ideation has been my jam for about 40 years, right? Of on and off. And just like, I prefer the black void of nothingness with the rest of the demons, right? Than to be here. And it's tough, you know, and it's like, I just feel like I'm just grateful I don't have actual DNA in the game where they're like, yeah, I'm talking to them, because that would be the one step that would just, I don't know if I could swing that, right? Because I mean, being in Aruba was hard enough with the Americans and their disgusting hate, um, you know, and just seeing things on the news and just knowing that, I mean, we are something to be hunted or not permitted to live or to exist or to thrive, you know, and it's just grating on me, right? And I'm just kind of grateful that I don't have family that I have to deal with like that, and I have family that supports me, you know, and my mom sees this stuff on the news. She's seen it in person and she worries for me all the freaking time. Are you safe? Are you doing this? Don't do this. Don't do this. You know, we walked into their hotel in Arizona and 30 white dudes in there. And she's like, what is their problem? I'm like, they want to know if they can take me. They want to see me gone, like wherever that will be, right? Some of them want me dead. I'm like, it is me that you're walking with, and this is the focus, the sole focus of their hate. And it is a heavy burden to bear sometimes, and I'm sure you all feel it,
Hmm.
you know, in your own way. But it's like
Every
grateful I
day.
don't have the tools in my family, because that would probably push me over the edge, and it's just been a struggle. I sorry to bring it down. I
No, I
sometimes
get
But
it.
be Debbie Downer on these podcasts, but it's like
I get
this
it.
is what it feels like.
It's
but
reality.
this is
It's not a
reality.
downer.
Exactly.
It
Go
is a
ahead, Luke.
reality.
Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying, you know, this is just the reality of what it's like to live like this every day. I was reading somewhere on LinkedIn and they were sourcing all the research that goes into being able to travel internationally. And I've had these conversations myself with my husband. He's like, besides being a woman and being Spanish, you are also not straight. And that's a problem. So like I can't travel with some of my partners, and he's like, it's just not safe because if at any, and I have rainbows all over myself. You know, even in Florida, we don't, the Ocala National Forest, we went one time to this very beautiful springs in the Ocala National Forest. I have two girls. I have a tattoo on my thigh that's by 5 by 4. It's rather large, and it's just a close up of two girls being intimate. They're just like, their foreheads are touching. It's a very loving embrace. Their hair is braided and it's rainbow. Like it is, I'm not even like secretly pan, I'm like very out there pan. And so even then we actually had to leave the Springs because there were so many, let's just say locals who were giving me very dirty looks, and it felt unsafe. And so, and that's just me. That's just me being pan and having girls making out on my thigh. Like that's not even being trans. And for me, I feel like that's like a whole nother step of difficult. And it's just, it's insane. We've got to cover travel one day because, you know, we've done this. We've done the route where it's like, it is not safe to go here. It's not safe to go here. It's not safe to go here. This is a, you know, LGBTQ owned hotel, so it might be safe there, but the rest of the surrounding area may not be safe.
But
So
Luna, that's the thing though, right? Like in Aruba, I went to an LGBTQ friendly hotel.
Yeah.
And I dealt with a substantial amount of hate from Americans.
Yeah.
To the point to where I actually asked the dude, don't sit me next to Americans. And then I had to go into the description of what an American is, like, yo, sorry, Liam, but you know, I was like, got a speech impediment, like they can't talk like you know, like that. You know what I mean? I don't know why I always go with the Southern thing, you know.
No, I get
Because
it.
that's where the hatred is from. That's
Yeah.
where
There's a
lot of
high
It is.
concentration
That's
here.
where a lot of it's from. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I do a
Bible
good Bill
Belt.
Clinton, so one day I'll have to do that. But it's like, you know, with the Southern thing, it's like that's just the way I could relate to these guys because I know
Yeah.
he'll hear this and be like, oh, it's these people over here. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
the Yahoos,
that's right.
Stars and Bars, yeah, those guys. Yeah.
That's it. I mean, it's literally gotten to the point now. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day. I get, and this is horrible to say, but I feel some sort of way now if I see somebody flying the United States flag. Like it
Same.
something
PTSD.
says to me, okay, does this person also have a Confederate flag flying in the other room? Are they racist? Are they transphobic? Are they homophobic? And this is the first time in my entire life that I looked at my wife and said, I'm not celebrating July 4th.
No.
I refuse to. I'm not going to celebrate a country that I feel like I'm a second class citizen in. I'm not.
Not until
And
everybody's free.
yeah, everybody should be free. And I can't for the life of me understand why people hate people just for being who they are. And the sad thing is most of them can't explain to you why they do.
Yeah.
They just do.
No. And I think Vanessa has nailed it on the head when she says, what is that thing that you say about when they make that declaration? It's something that's hidden in they're suppressing something. Oh, good Lord, you have slept, haven't you?
Hmm? I have no fucking clue.
She's like, I have nothing. I'm good.
Yeah, she's like, oh,
That
whatever.
was the perfect look for that. Yeah.
It was.
Nailed it.
No, when
I'm like, oh my God,
somebody
you broke
says
Vanessa.
something that is so anti-trans, you have come back with a quip, and it's like, well, that's something that's they're in their closet, or they haven't accepted something with them.
Mm-hmm.
I do not remember saying that.
It was like 2 whole weeks ago. We don't
Yeah.
we
Oh,
don't
if it was
expect you
2
to
weeks ago,
remember.
you can forget it.
But you haven't
Somebody
slept,
check
and
the
then you
tape.
have slept. So
What episode was that?
I don't remember. And
Now
it
you
was
got to go back and listen.
now you're gonna have to go listen to it.
Now you.
But I mean, it's when somebody it's akin to when you point out somebody else's shortcomings. That's usually you have that shortcoming
Yeah.
too.
Oh yeah, projection.
Thank you. I from my brain. You know,
There you
I
go.
slept since then.
Projection.
But-
5 of us here.
That's all the Republicans do is project. So
Yes.
Yeah.
And then to tag off on what Taryn said earlier in the episode about empathy, how sad is it that when I was corporate training for the state, we had a class on empathy and how empathy and sympathy are two totally different things. People can't empathize because they don't want to put themselves in your place. They're not going to sympathize because they don't believe what you're doing is right. Whereas all you're trying to do is live in your as your authentic selves, and they can't get through that. So yes, empathy needs to be taught at a young age.
Yeah.
Well, it's sad that,
But it's not going to be as long as we have.
I mean, we have adults now who are trying to learn what empathy is, just like you said. I mean, think about it. Most of the companies that we work for in America have to teach empathy because literally adults, most of them don't understand what it means. And, you know, it's like the whole thing with white people saying, oh, I'm not racist, I have a black friend. Okay.
What does that mean?
But do you actually hang out with this person? Do they come to your house? Do you just because you say you know a black person or you have a black friend, it's like saying you know a trans person or you have a trans friend. It doesn't mean you're not transphobic. It doesn't mean you're not racist. People need to get out of their comfort zone and start getting to know people that are different than them, that have different religions, different backgrounds, different ethnicities, and really get to know other people that are just 180 different than they are. And I think people would really learn what empathy is, because people just don't know how to do that. They can't move on from what's normal to them, right? This is what I've always done. These are the people I've always hung around. This is all I'm going to do. If I see somebody different than me, they must be wrong. They must be horrible. They're going to go to hell. And people just can't get past that. And I don't understand it. It's got to be something with the societal norms and how people were raised, but get over that shit.
Yeah, I would
But
think
Liam,
I'm
I
gonna
think-
agree with Taryn on that one too, with regards to it's all self-centric.
Mm-hmm.
It's me. What I say goes, not,
Yeah.
oh, let me see it from your viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just like Liam said, right? Like we talked way earlier about that being self-centered, like focused on self so much. And there's a lot of that, especially social media helps empower that as well. But like Liam, what you just said, I have, right? XYZ, whatever that black friend, trans friend, bi
Right.
friend, sexual friend, right? I have. That's where that self-centering is right there, right? You don't have anything. So,
No, you don't.
it's exactly. So it's like
But it is. It's look at me. Look at me. Yeah.
Mhm.
right, exactly. And that's just like, ugh, whatever. Just can't deal.
Mm-mm. Maybe we're just all different.
Gee, what
Us.
a concept.
Imagine that.
How dare you?
That's why we're called the chosen family.
That's right. That's
I
exactly
choose
right.
you as my family, and I'm gonna agree with Taryn. That's a lot better many times than
It's
the
a lot
DNA.
better than having to deal with assholes.
Blood does not
Family-
make family.
That's right.
Yep, exactly.
Family's always been an F word for me. So yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, but what's up?
Later, once I get my Viggo.
Oh my god. Oh,
Listen, we can never meet in person. Like we cannot meet face to face. It would just, I think worlds would collide, things would explode, stars
Oh,
would
wow.
implode.
Yeah, it'll be pretty. It'll be pretty hot. But
Yes, that's what we need to be planning. A THP meetup somewhere safe.
it's at this point on who doesn't Vanessa want to fuck on THP. So but Vanessa
Oh my
hasn't
God.
gotten laid in 2 years, so it's
That would certainly solve the problem, though.
We need that on Bravo. We need that on Bravo.
Oh, bravo. Oh, wow.
awkward pause.
No, I'm gonna feel the awkward pause. Sad story. I knew someone who she's bi, and I'd known her for 5 or 6 years at this point, and she just came to me and she started complaining, and she's like, she was so upset because apparently someone she had been talking to, she's like, I don't understand. I demand that they tell me that they're trans as soon as we meet. And, I don't want that. And I'm just, V, I did the same thing. I'm just like, what about me and my transgender son did you think would be okay for you to come spewing that trans hate in my direction? Like, I get that you feel the way you feel. Fine. You're bi, but you only do, the biological genders is not even a thing, okay? Because there's like hundreds of them.
Gender assigned at birth.
Yeah, be assigned at birth thing. But who the hell are you to think that you can tell a trans person that they have to share this insanely intimate part as soon as they meet you? And then that automatically disqualifies them.
It's dangerous.
It
Seems to be
is.
very
And
good.
I've heard this.
It-
I've heard this so often.
It is the most bizarre thing. And it is one of the reasons I don't identify as bi. I do identify as pan. Because, listen, I have fallen in love with more trans people than I can probably count on my hands and toes. They are some of the most loving, beautiful people that you will ever meet. And Liam, Taryn, it is meeting a transgender person that just meeting their beautiful soul that made me realize that I wasn't bi, I was pan, because I was just like, I need to know this person. I need to know their journey. I need to be around them. Like, there's something intimately beautiful about them. They have their bad days, and I want to be there to pick that up. There's just something so beautiful about trans people that you start to meet them, you learn about them, it will change your life in the most beautiful ways. The most
Thank
beautiful
you.
ways.
Thank
So
you.
anyway, it's a sad story, but anyway, she got kicked to the curb because we don't do that nonsense around here.
You wanna
Good.
know okay, being single, I've been single for 4 years. My question to a person, it's not, are you trans? It's, do you have any sexual transmitted diseases?
That's
what I
what's
wanna know.
important.
I don't care if you're trans. Oh my God. Tell me if you have an STD.
People cannot get out of someone's pants. That's the problem. They can't get out of the bedroom. They can't get out of what's in someone's pants, and it's not about that. I mean,
No.
yes, everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people love sex, obviously, the physical part of sex, but it's not about that. It's about what's here. It's about the person as an individual, and
Yeah.
that's also part of why people hate, because they cannot get past the sexual aspect of it.
Mhm.
And it's one thing to say it's none of your business what goes on in my bedroom or what's in my pants, whatever, but it's more than that. It's, why is it the first thing that you think of when you think about a gay person or a trans person? Why? I don't think about the fact that you have a dick because you're cisgender heterosexual male. I don't care. I've never understood that. They can't get past that part.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
and-
sad, really. It's really
It
sad.
is. But to tag off on Luna's story about, did you say the Ocala Park?
Ocala National Forest, yeah.
Ocala National Forest. Why, riddle me this, okay? I know I'm asking the type of question I'm asking. Why should anyone be singled out for a tattoo, regardless of what it is, when you've got these perverts looking at these little kids that are in bathing suit, a 2-year-old in a 2-piece bathing suit, and they have there's creepers out there. Why?
But then they blame that. They call us trans people the
Exactly.
pedos, which
And they're
fucking
not,
hates.
and I don't think I have ever in my life met anybody on the rainbow that is a groomer.
Mm-mm. And it's funny because whenever anybody says that to me, like, oh, your groomers, your pedo, I'm like, okay, well then you show me the data to support that, because I can show you a shit ton of data that supports that it's mostly cisgender heterosexual white men that do it.
Yep.
And
And I
just-
can tell you
Yeah.
one of them that got a notification on their certification for teaching
Ooh.
that, that person is very lucky they didn't lose it.
Ooh.
And it's
So I
just,
got in trouble. I'm sorry, go ahead, Lynn.
oh no, I was gonna say, just keep in mind that all the bathrooms in your house are all gender
Gender neutral.
bathrooms.
Gender neutral. Okay.
Imagine
I
that.
got into trouble with LinkedIn for a comment. So there's 3 comments that they've punished me for in the past year. And one of them was with I was getting savagely attacked in the middle of the night by right wingers on a post where I was just saying to the trans community, be safe, be careful, head on a swivel, because the shooter was identified as, I think, non-binary in Tennessee, and they went against Christians, so they were going to use that as the Reichstag fire to burn us all to the ground. So I did that, and the right winger was like, "How dare you, sinner!" your community over the children, the poor children.
Oh my God.
So I went off on one comment because I was like feeling really bitchy, which I'm a super bitch. And
Trans
I was
menace.
feeling really bitchy. I'm the trans menace for sure. Trans menace retired from LinkedIn. She's on Threads now. So, you know, when I came back and I was like, you want a fucking groomer? Look at the Republican Party and the Catholic Church. LinkedIn was like, this is an inappropriate comment. I'm like, really? Look at all the fucking posts that come on. I mean,
It's
I'm seeing
true.
youth pastors, cops, teachers, all of them white guys, grooming children as young as 2 and 4. I mean, the kind of evil that rapes a child that's like 4 years old should be, and I know this could be controversial, but should be executed. Like, I mean, like I look at some of this stuff as a parent. I'm like, where's the like? Where's
But they're worried about us.
burn them on?
There's no
Yeah.
Rehabilitation.
Yeah, thank you. Words for that. Period.
It's a brain
Good.
wiring that's gone.
But we're the problem, you know? We are the problem.
No, when I was in, I don't even remember how old I was, but they had a San Antonio police officer do a rape awareness class. And I mean, I was little, and the guy stopped whatever video they were showing, and he starts talking, and he goes, let me tell you something. He goes, he did research. And according to the San Antonio records at the time, the youngest female assigned at birth was 6 weeks old. The oldest was 92.
Disgusting.
That is disgusting.
Absolutely. What are all these groomers? What, I mean, really? You want to talk groomers? You look at those people and you see, and it's like Liam said, and Taryn said, they're white cis het males.
Yep. Majority are.
Oh yeah. So I'm going to do a little plug right now for my former intern from last year, an amazing girl, and she is working on a child's book, and we're trying to help her with some marketing. But I wanted to share this since we're talking about her. She is 16 years old, and she's working on a child's book to help children identify an adult that is attempting to groom them. So like she's hoping to get this self-published in the next like 6 months. I looked at her and I was like, I am in all of you, right? Like I am 40 years older than you, and I'm like,
That's
and I look at her and I'm just like, you give me hope that maybe we can correct things, maybe that we can rise up and fight, and it's not all for nothing, you know. And like if it comes out, I would definitely share it with this group. But it's like people are stepping up and getting into this and addressing this, and it's inspiring me. And like I forget who said it on the pod earlier, but it was, you know, this younger generation, Gen Z and Gen Alpha. I have a lot of hope. You're pointing to the one side that nobody is at. Are you talking about
sorry.
Liam?
Pointing
Yeah,
to Liam.
oh,
Liam said that.
Okay, I thought it was Liam.
Liam is actually below you.
Not on my screen.
I was like, where are you going with this? I was like, but no, I'm inspired by that generation, and I'm hoping that we can, like, it's not all for nothing, right? And that this phase will end. And Vanessa, I know you said like the way you look at it as a steely-eyed warrior, right? Is like, it's going to be a few more years, but it is fucking hard.
Yeah, it's gonna be a shitty few more years.
That's all right. We're gonna watch them all, the assholes, the Republicans. We're gonna watch them all go down one by one.
Mm-hmm.
And in the
I'm waiting for
meantime, we're
Elon
gonna
Musk
support
like
trans-
rocket to Mars. What's that?
I said in the meantime, we're just gonna keep supporting trans creators. So
Exactly.
Mercury Stardust is doing her book tour, so I'm
Awesome.
going. I'm
I love
driving to
Mercury.
get for it. I'm like, yes. I don't rent, but I want it. Sorry.
I have to look Mercury up again.
Are you gonna look them up on the Google? That was for you, girl.
Is that like
was
the
for you.
YouTube?
She's on the
YouTube.
on the Taki Tiki, the clock app.
Oh
See,
my
I'm
God.
not on anything like
The Chinese spy
Fucking-
network, as the conservatives call it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
My girl wants me to get
that.
out on the Taki Tiki. Yeah.
Talkie Tiki. I like that better than TikTok.
Talkie Tiki.
We are so old.
Are you kidding me? I think I'm the oldest one here. But yeah, all
Are
right.
you?
I'll go
Yes,
with
I
it.
don't see it as old. I see it as, we can look at things with humor.
True.
Things with humor.
It's aged like fine wine. How about that?
I mean, yeah, that's true. Though Luna, I think you're the youngest one of us, so it's easier to say that.
I know people. tell
Liam
me
and I
Yeah.
found out we're the same age, so
Yeah.
we're the second oldest.
So my husband's actually 51.
Mhm.
And so there's a 17-year gap for us. And he's like, often you seem like the older person in this relationship.
Oh, it's the old soul, not older person. It's the old soul.
Old soul, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm turning 55 in 2 weeks.
Yay.
Are you doing something fun? I hope you're doing something fun.
I don't know. I mean, I think I'm going to go to a topless beach over the
Do
weekend.
it.
Do it.
So I don't know if I shared this with y'all, but I paint. So what I did a self-portrait of myself like 30 years ago. Actually, no, 32. And I want to do one now. So I'm going to go topless and at sunset on a California beach and just take this photograph and then paint it. So
That'll be gorgeous.
time for
That's
a new
amazing.
self-portrait.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
I love that. Stop.
Awesome.
Sorry, my dog's.
Other than that, I'm looking forward to an early bird dinner. But yeah,
Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel.
ew.
They promoted having rainbow rockers outside of their stores. I went to 4 of them in
And none
Central
of them had
Florida.
them.
Not a single one.
There wasn't one by me either.
Mm.
I was
Now I'm
like,
thinking
I'd have
Brazilian
to look up
steakhouse.
here.
Yeah, I'll skip the Cracker Barrel. I'll skip the crackers. Thank you.
Golden Corral.
Wait a minute, I'm a cracker.
Oh, wow.
Actually, when I did my DNA, I'm 98% that, but I'm 2% Egyptian, so I'll take the Egyptian.
We always remember the Egyptian.
That's right.
All right.
Rags walks
Vanessa
like an
has made me
Egyptian.
hungry with her ramen and brownies. So I am going to go get something to eat.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna make pasta.
Well then, I guess we should
Taryn,
sign
stay on
off.
for a second because I need to tell you something.
You haven't closed out the show yet, Lisa and Luna.
Oh, wow.
yeah, I was just about to. Everyone's popping off, guys.
I know.
We're gonna let you
We're all
close it out.
hungry. It's all V's fault. We're hungry.
It's always my fault.
Well, as always, it was a pleasure to speak to all of you. Thank you so much for taking the
Thank
time to record this. And if you are interested in hearing more about our pod, you can follow the Transcending Humanity podcast. Check out our website. Click the subscribe button. We also have a Patreon. You can support us. We are all self-funded by a bunch of volunteers who are really passionate about the topic, so any funding will help. And I'd like to thank Lisa, Liam, Taryn, and V for joining us so much. Everyone, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. See you soon.
Bye. Check us out on the YouTube.